So after the new Techrot update, we have received a new sythe in the game, and this sythe is the Coda Caustacyst. This weapon is amazing. A lot of people aren't really using it. I haven't really seen many people talking about it. I personally think it's amazing. This weapon is unfortunately not as strong as the Coda Caustacyst, but it can still hold its own, and it performs very well. The base stats of the Coda compared to its former are amazing. There is a substantial increase in all of the stats. The crit chance has been increased by 10% and the status chance has been increased by 4%. Now the status chance increase is adequate at best, but considering this weapon already had a 37% status chance, it's acceptable. The base damage has been increased by 9.6% and the heavy attack damage has been increased by 14%. Now you might be asking, why am I even talking about base damage? Well, all the mods that you use on your weapon scale off the base damage. So the weapon having a 10% and a 14% increase in its regular and heavy attacks is really good because it buffs your overall DPS by a estimated 10 to 15%. The intrinsic perk of this weapon is when you perform a heavy attack, the weapon splooges out corrosive damage puddles on the floor. These puddles can proc all the other elements that are on your weapon, which is great because if we pair this with melee influence, you can mass spread status effects very easily. And mass spreading status effects on this weapon is very strong because this weapon has an innate corrosive status and you can build Varl on it, meaning max stack corrosive, which is an 80% armor reduction, and max stack Varl, which is a 325% damage increase, will combine together and help you do an absurd amount of damage. So not to waste any of you guys' time, let's get into the build. For the build, we use all three galvanized mods: Galvanized Steel, Galvanized Elementalist, and Galvanized Reflex. Galvanized Steel and Galvanized Elementalist give us our crit rate, our crit damage, our status damage, as well as our status chance. Galvanized Reflex gives us the consistent 5x combo multiplier, which is good because this is a heavy attack build. For the base damage, we will use Primed Pressure Point. Now, an important thing to note is that Conditional Overload doesn't actually boost the damage of the corrosive waves that the weapon releases from heavy attacks, which for us is a massive downside because this is a heavy attack build that utilizes the heavy attack corrosive waves. The reason Conditional Overload doesn't affect the waves is because the waves are considered a separate entity from the actual melee hits that the weapon does, and therefore the damage on them isn't boosted with Conditional Overload. But since Primed Pressure Point, or regular Pressure Point if you don't have primed, buffs the base damage of the weapon itself and any entities that are attached to it, the corrosive wave actually does get the damage buff. So it's important to know that Conditional Overload does not work with the heavy attacks on this weapon. I just wanted to let you guys know, just in case you're wondering why the weapon does less damage with Conditional Overload. The 60/60 Toxin and Cold mods are what we will use to get Varl on our weapon. Corrosive is a base stat on the weapon, so we don't have to mod for it, which is great. And lastly, we'll use Electricity, which we get from Shocking Touch. Now, for my Valiant, I have Toxin, but since I can already fit all the mods in, I'm too lazy to get this all the way up to 40. If I needed additional mod capacity, then I would have, but I don't really see the point in wasting 4 format on this. If you have a rank 40 Caustacyst, then you can change your Valiant straight to Electric and you can get rid of Shocking Touch. The only problem with this is if you only solely rely on your Valiant straight for the electric procs, the proc rate of Electricity will be really low and it's not very consistent because we need melee influence to be active at all times. To add on, Electricity is one of our only DOTs, which stands for damage over time. So it's important that our Toxin remains a high priority status effect on our weapon. So for that reason, I would recommend all of you guys to use Shocking Touch even if you have an electric Valiant straight. If you don't want to use this as just a heavy attack weapon and you want to use this with regular attacks, then you can opt for a Tennokai build. If you don't use Naramon, just replace Killing Blow with Drifting Contact just to help you maintain the combo counter for longer, because the combo duration is only 5 seconds at base and you need much more than that to keep sustaining it. But even if you don't really sustain the full combo, I mean, this weapon, even with this build, does an absurd amount of damage. Since I don't really recommend Electricity for the Valiants, I would recommend you guys use Magnetic. Now, Magnetic is a very good status because it overguard strips, and when overguard breaks, it releases an electric DOT around, which does a considerable amount of damage. And this force procs electric, meaning it helps you activate your melee influence, and it helps you spread further electric DLTs around the map, which is always a good thing. That's it for the guide. I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time, so that's really all that needs to be explained. Of course, if you use this weapon with buffs or armor strip or anything like that, it will do even more damage, surprise surprise. But again, there's no real necessity for it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, please subscribe. I am a new content creator and I'm looking to get bigger on the platform and help you guys with any knowledge that you need. My next video will take a bit longer for me to release. It's going to be a plat guide, a guide on how you can farm platinum. I hope you guys enjoy that because I have currently 13,000 plat and I'm basically a free-to-play player, so yeah. Hope you guys have a great week and stay safe. Until next time.